I'm Steve Phillips, Soil Fertility Research Specialist at Oklahoma State University. I'm out here at the Dacoma Sorghum Experience Day. So we've heard from a lot of soil fertility specialists, Raiden Sherry, Brian Arnell, Josh Lofton, and we've covered several different topics in fertility management and sorghum. What I talked more about was forage sorghum. We've done some research where we're looking at different rates and timings of nitrogen on forage sorghum for hay production. We have a lot of growers that are a little hesitant, especially after the first cutting, to come with too much nitrogen, with a concern with nitrate concentrations in the hay. If we get up above 4,000 parts per million, we start to watch that a little closely. And so that was another thing that we wanted to make sure that we investigated in this research, was make sure that we got the maximum forage production we can get using the split nitrogen applications, but maintain a minimum standard of quality that we're looking for in our hay without exceeding that toxic nitrate level. And what we found in north central Oklahoma, on a silt loam around Stillwater and then on a sandy loam down around Perkins, is that we could continue to see yield increases all the way up to 200 pounds of nitrogen applied per acre. Now, ordinarily, when we do a nitrogen rate study, we like to go ahead and push that on over the top, and the fact that we continued to produce yields, and these yield levels are 13 tons, I think, was our top yielding. We ranged from about 9 at 100 pounds up to about 13 with 200 pounds. And so we need to get a little better feel for what we're doing in terms of pounds of nitrogen per ton of production. And so there's still a little bit of work there left to do, because what we're finding is a little more efficient use of the nitrogen than what we currently have in our recommendations. For example, we would recommend about 240 pounds of N for 10 tons of forage, where we made 13 with 200. So again, this split application may be a way for us to go. What we also found with the split applications is that there was never a statistical advantage to splitting if the rate was the same. For example, if we put 200 pounds out at establishment, got 2 cuttings off of it, then that was nominally lower, but not statistically significantly lower than putting 100 and 100. But what we find was that the second cutting at rates from 50 to 100 after the first cutting were significantly greater than the second cutting off of the single application prior to planting. And so we feel like there's something to this. We just need to do a little more investigation into that ideal combination of pre-plant and after the first cutting nitrogen application. Back to the quality, no differences really due to nitrogen rate, which was a little interesting. Usually we see the protein tend to follow a little bit, but in this case, we were around 7-8% protein and about 60% TDN, so a good quality hay that we're making. Nitrates never exceeded 3,000 parts per million, so we were in a level even at 200 pounds of nitrogen where we wouldn't be concerned. Now, it's important to remember that nitrate toxicity is very environmentally dependent. So as we see these plants begin to get stressed, we get surges in growth, erratic rainfall patterns, which are quite typical for the parts of the state where we're growing this crop. That's really what drives that accumulation of nitrate in the plant. It's not necessarily the amount of nitrogen, it's the plant uptake and metabolism of the nitrogen. And so in our environments, we didn't have a problem, but again, it's certainly good to always consult, always test your forage occasionally, especially before you bale it up, to get a feel for where those nitrates are. And you can do that at the Soil and Water Forage Testing Lab there at Oklahoma State University. Had some good feedback from growers here at the field day, as we're really starting to grow the soil fertility research and extension program. I just joined the faculty a little over 2 years ago, and so Brian Arnell and I are really looking at opportunities where he, as the extension specialist for the past couple of decades, has observed a lot of things and thought about a lot of concepts and just never really had the time or the resources to investigate it thoroughly. So now that I'm here, we're looking back at a lot of the things that he's experienced, issues that growers have brought to him, and we spent a lot of time here over the lunch today talking with growers getting their thoughts on fertility issues, weird things they've seen happen, and a lot of it's with nitrogen in both the grain sorghum and the forage sorghums. And so we look forward to continued dialogue with the producers here in the area about how we can continue to advance our understanding of fertilizer management for some of the more common crops grown here in the region.